In this video I'm going to talk about why you identify as a body in reality or as a person in reality instead of as reality itself, which is the natural state you get in Satoris and if you reach the enlightenment levels. That's what Bashar talks about. The definition he says is that you become the reality or the dimension that you previously thought you were in. And that's also my exact experience when I had a Satori that lasted for a full day. It's a subtle little shift, and suddenly, all your so-called problems and all your suffering and all that is suddenly long gone. It's like you can't, after 5 seconds in that state, you can't believe that you had any problems and that you had any suffering or discontentedness, because it's so gone so quickly as soon as you get switched into that reality you get when you become one with reality and you become one with the cosmos and consciousness. And it doesn't feel like a big deal in one way. It's like a little switch of a button, so to speak, and then boom, suddenly you're wide open beingness instead of closed. And it's like it feels completely natural too. It's like just switch into that state, and it's so different. It's hard to describe, but in this video I'm going to talk about what's causing this sense of being a body, or at least a person in reality instead of being reality itself, which actually is the natural state. That's quite a mystery for many people, and because most enlightened teachers, they just say it's because you're identified with the body. In my experience, that's not quite accurate. There's some truth to it, but you're not looking really deeply enough on it. I mean, in my experience, it's too easy to just say you're identified with the body. That's not really the case. It's not what makes you feel like a closed, so-called in-divide jewel or individual. That word really describes it very good. In-divide jewel. Individual, that's what you feel like. You feel like an in-divide jewel in a dualistic state, right? And the reason is because you get closed up when you're newborn into this world, this negative mass consciousness with negative parents who have negativity in their unconscious mind and traumas and whatnot. As I talked about before, you get the initial rejection trauma and additional traumas added on to that if you have bad parents in addition. But everybody gets the default trauma that closes them up, because this creates the unconscious mind, because you need an unconscious mind to store the trauma so it eventually can be healed, because the baby is not equipped to heal any trauma at that age. So it has to create this split off, which basically stores the past, because every trauma is from the past. So you're holding on to past with these traumas and this negativity that you have in your unconscious mind, which creates the whole unconscious mind. And this creates like a split in your consciousness, a split up, because you get into like a healing mode setup, which everybody is in by default, which is considered normal on this planet to be in, but actually it's not natural state. It's a healing mode. You're supposed to be in a healing mode, which means you're supposed to move and heal stuff in that healing mode. But most people are stagnated in it because they block the whole healing process, because they don't understand that they're in it, and they don't want to face the negativity and the pain, right? But the point is, you're split into an unconscious mind, and then you have a subconscious mind that acts like a portal between your unconscious and your conscious mind. So the stuff from the stuff from the unconscious mind is sort of goes through the unconscious mind, goes through the subconscious mind and enters your conscious mind, and there you can heal it or integrate it or let it go, and you can basically, by observing it neutrally and unconditionally lovingly, without judging it or trying to repress it or not projecting it onto others, not acting it out, letting the momentum of the energy basically play out in your very conscious awareness that you have available, and then it will leave you, and then you have cleansed one issue from your unconscious mind. So that's the whole process. You have to rinse and repeat if you want to catch up with the now and with your natural state. But the point is that this healing mode setup, it splits you into these three consciousness levels: the unconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious. And the conscious is where you are. The unconscious is unconscious. It's called unconscious for a reason. It's not conscious. It's your past and everything you hold on to that's lingering around in your field and goes like in cycles, and which gives you reflections from the so-called external world, which is a mirror reflecting those issues back to you and triggering you in different ways as you go through life. And you're meant to use those triggers to actually identify or bring these negativity and these traumas up from the unconscious mind into the conscious mind as they are triggered, and then you have a chance to heal them. And that's the whole idea, right? That's the whole thing that most people don't get, and that's what you have to practice relentlessly and with persistence. If you're gonna increase your level of consciousness, you have to be very persistent with this practice of, when you're triggered, you have to bring up and identify the underlying emotional charge, not focus on the blaming story level that goes on in your head. You have to immediately go deeper and look at the triggered feeling and emotion, and then let that pain come up fully in your conscious awareness. And then you have to let it play out its energy momentum, and then it will leave automatically once it has been heard, or it has been recognized by your conscious and unconditionally loving awareness that you have available. You have to create this space within yourself that is unconditionally accepting of whatever comes up. And the more you do that, the more awareness you will, the more percentage you will be integrated. If you look on the scale of consciousness on the screen, you'll see a percentage integrated. And this, because a certain percent of your awareness, of your full awareness, will always be tied up in being projected through these negativity filters and traumas in the unconscious mind. And you have just a certain percentage available for free to sort of use to heal whatever comes up in your consciousness from the unconscious. And that's how you increase the percentage of integration, and you increase the percentage of awareness you have available for free. And you eventually you become close to 100%, and that's when you can eventually make a leap into the non-duality or enlightenment levels, in which your awareness then will be reunited with your full awareness, which is like a wave merging into the ocean. So you become one with reality itself. You reach your natural state of the leading edge of consciousness, with without holding on to any past or traumas that basically is weighing you down. Then you become reality itself. You become the cosmos. You become one with the cosmos, one with consciousness itself. And that's enlightenment. That's non-duality and enlightenment, right? So the reason is not really, you could say you're identified with the body, but that's kind of an illusion. You are identified with, or your awareness is focused on, the healing mode setup, which is a closed loop or karmic, basically karmic grooves, or like an onion with different levels. Right? That's what the levels of consciousness are. Levels of mind are. It's like an onion with different layers, and you will always be focused on the outermost layer of that onion, which is sort of rotating around inside you. Like that's all your trauma complex is rotating around to give you different reflections, so you can peel the onion layer by layer. And each time you peel the onion successfully, you go deeper in yourself, you increase your level of consciousness, and that gives you new reflections according to that level. So that's basically how it works. And because your awareness is in healing mode, it's focused on the mind stuff. It's not, instead of resting in itself as beingness. That's the big difference. The whatever percentage awareness you have available is focused on the mind stuff, because that's the only way to heal, because you're in a healing mode setup. And most people are stagnated to various degrees in that healing mode setup, because they don't understand that you're supposed to heal. So they just, they block the whole healing process. They don't want to face their pain, and intuitively don't want to do that. So they just block the whole passage from the unconscious to the conscious mind, and don't want to face anything. And if they get triggered, they don't take responsibility for it. They just act it out, or they repress their anger or whatever. They do either of those two things. They repress it. They repress the anger and until they maybe boil over at some point later, or they act it out and take revenge, or lash out at people. Those are the two most common tactics that people apply because of this setup, this healing. Very few, but no, more and more people these days, because of what's going on, luckily are doing the inner work of actually taking that responsibility of healing those things that come up and knowing consciously about this, because most people have no idea about that this is even possible, and they don't even see the point in doing it, because they wouldn't know what the end goal is, that you can actually cleanse yourself and reach much higher level of consciousness. They don't even understand that. So then it's difficult. Then you're locked into the healing mode, stagnated in the healing mode setup, and that's what makes you feel like a closed, individual dual or individual, or closed person in reality. It's not so much the body, because most people, even unconscious people, refer to the body as my body, not they, not like it's like a thing for them. Even for them, it's like a thing. Intuitively, it's like a thing. It's like an object. My body. That's what you hear people say, right? So even for unconscious people who have no idea about these things, they also intuitively sense that they are not the body, but they still feel like the body, kind of. They still feel like they're a person in reality, not reality itself, because they are locked in this closed setup of having a closed identity of a trauma complex with different layers upon layers, like an onion. And the conscious mind, your conscious awareness, is focused on that, on the outermost layer of that onion. So you get sort of that onion is sort of is rotating in your being, and that gives you reflections, so you can peel it. And also because of this, you will have to be focused on that onion, on the mind stuff that comes up, to be able to heal. So you're constantly in healing mode, in healing modus, with the whole setup of this healing process. So that's why. Because if your beingness was fully available, or your awareness was fully 100% available, it would feel like you are reality itself, because it would be resting in itself, as beingness. But instead you have a split setup of traumas you have to heal, and awareness being focused through or projected through these layers of traumas onto the world, so you can get reflections back, and then you can use your available awareness percentage to heal those things that reflected back to you, whatever it triggers in you. So that's basically the reason why people feel like a person in reality, or like a body, because you have this setup that closes you up. It closes your beingness up until you have healed everything there is to heal, and there is no past you hold on to, and then you become the leading edge of reality itself. You become full awareness, or your full consciousness. My new ebook, Unmasking the Ego, goes into great detail about the root cause of suffering, negativity and evil, and also how this plays out on the world stage. You also gain complete clarity about the levels of consciousness, and you will discover the fastest way to unconditional love, or the higher 500s on the scale of consciousness. So hit the link below to grab your copy today.